well after the declaration of war.
Brilliant, thank you very much. I just wanted to address this question about war and trade and so on. And I come from this representative. I think when individuals are trading over borders, I think it's a great incentive not to go to war. States go to war, governments go to war, and that's part of the problem. And we've got too much government and too many states, and that's it. So that's my view on that. I'll just close with maybe 4 points. Let me just say in advance of that again, thank you for your invitation. I feel that I am better informed, although, as you will tell me, and you will certainly tell me, I'm still very ill-informed about your beliefs and aspirations. And well, I can only hope that you have a little more understanding of where I'm coming from. I'd just like to make 4 points, though, which I think are my problems about your point of view. Capitalism, like your view, capitalism informs me, let's say. I'm against monopoly, I'm against regulation, I'm against bloody politicians. I think there's too much politics and there's too much pushing people around. And most of that, it seems to me, comes from the public sector rather than the private sector. And I want a world in which people do indeed have access to resources, a world which is generating the wealth by which we can help people then who don't have much access to resources, and that we can bring new products and processes to the world's poorest. And I think that the capitalist system over the last 30 years has done that, and it has pulled billions of people out of poverty, and that is what it's done, and it hasn't been socialist approach. Secondly, just on the mechanics of your system, we talk about common ownership and means production and everything else for that matter, but who decides? Who decides what's going to be produced? Who decides how it's going to be produced? I cannot subscribe to the sort of Marx idea that there's a sort of group consciousness and group will, and somehow we all know what needs to be done and needs to be produced. That's not true at all. There will be some people who say we ought to be doing this, others who say we ought to be doing that, and it's going to be a real conflict between them. And if it isn't a real conflict between them, then it isn't much of a debate. You're going to have a real conflict between them. And that, I think, means that you've got a political system, however you look at it, you've got politics in this. And I think that politics is just incredibly corrosive. And that's another reason why I believe in a market system which I think avoids that kind of conflict. It's a cooperative system. We're all exchanging. And I think also that the economy that we have at the moment is extremely complicated. It is indeed not an agrarian economy. We may all be brothers. Yes, I agree. 99.999% of our DNA is identical. Indeed, 99.9% is identical with chimps and all the rest of it. But there are so many of us. It is a huge society. It's a huge, complex society. Everybody has different. We all have different skills, different attitudes, different wants, different needs. And getting that all together is not like being in a family and just saying, oh, well, you do this, Jack, and you do that, and or even in a prison where you can do this, where it's a smaller community. So you need a system which can actually allocate resources, produce and allocate resources over the whole globe. And that, to me, I think you need a capitalist system. You need a market system. I think my third point would be that your idea, I think we can't have enough information. You don't know. You say, well, we produce what people need. How do you know what people need? Unless they tell you something. If they go to a shop and they buy one thing instead of another, you know, right, that's what they want. And you say, we'll produce what people need. What about what people want? Okay, Victoria Beckham does not need a handbag that costs 12,000 quid, right? But she wants it. Well, if she thinks that's really important, why should I stop her, quite frankly? And we make progress by people wanting actually more than they need. I love my little iPhone. I think it's fantastic. Do I need it? No, not really. I could get by without it, I'm sure. I think it's wonderful. I think it's the sort of invention which we produce and which I want to actually see more of. And I want everybody to have an iPhone. I want everybody to have a Mac, not a PC. Being on about what's his name, Bill Gates. So, you know, how do we know what to produce? We only know what to produce if people, ordinary people, have a choice and can select what is going to be produced. And that means you need a variety of production. You need people who are putting things on the market in the hope of making a profit from it. Yes, absolutely, but they only make a profit if they benefit somebody else as well. So that's the system. And I think that, you know, we're surrounded here by Darwin stuff. You're socialist, you see that behind the times, the controversy is over. But we're surrounded by Darwin, and it is the market system. No. It's the market system is an evolutionary system where you're trying new products and processes all the time, people are coming up with new things, and they are left to the general public to decide whether they live or die. And that seems to be a system in which we make progress, in which we produce more things, we improve our standard of living, and in particular, in my outlook, that we improve the lot of the currently the poorest people on the planet.
And for a nanosecond, he almost lapsed into a moment of revolutionary consciousness. Then he quickly backtracked. Alas, however, I have high hopes. I want to end this meeting by not answering all the points. I think we've given it all a good go. I want to talk about something that's very much on my mind all the time, and people say, how is that going to happen? One of the most, this is all a bit philosophical, and I apologise in advance, but I think it's worth saying. One of the most pernicious untruths ever perpetrated